Hey, Morgan O. Smith here. This is going to be Bodhi in the Brain Part 4. For those who don't know, Bodhi in the Brain is my book that's coming out in 2023 in regards to Yinnergy Meditation. Yinnergy is a program, brainwave entrainment program, which I created 12 years ago. And so basically, Yinnergy, the book is about me talking about Yinnergy, how it works, what does it do, what are the benefits, how was it created, and the list goes on of all the different things that Yinnergy can do. So just to let everyone know that Yinnergy is based on low carrier frequency. Just want to let you all know that for those who do know what binaural beats are, not all binaural beats are created equally. And I'll say that again. Not all binaural beats are created equally. So there are ways to take binaural beats, if you're already familiar with what that is, and you can make them better, more powerful, and so on, if you just know the math behind it. So low carrier frequencies is the foundation of Yinnergy. So by knowing, because lower carrier frequencies have higher amplitude, and higher amplitude equates to more strength. So by knowing how to use this, you can take advantage of this and apply it to your meditation, which makes your meditation more powerful, which can lead to a whole lot of different things that are actually will seem unbelievable to the average person. But trust me, with the driving force of low carrier frequencies, it can do things like that. But Yinnergy is also based on, there's a mathematical algorithm to that, to Yinnergy, and that is based on Vortex Based Mathematics. So again, that's called Vortex Based Mathematics, which was created by a mathematician by the name of Marco Rodin. So Marco Rodin came up with this math, which he was inspired by coming up with this math by reading all the sacred texts. So the Bible, the Quran, the sacred texts within Hinduism and Buddhism, and all of that. And he found that there was some similarities between all of them, which had to do with the number 9. And number 9 is known as being the number of God, or the number of Brahman, the number of Jehovah, the number of Allah, the number of Abha, and the list goes on with all the different names for God. So number 9 is the number for that, if you're looking at this mathematically. So number 9 represents God, Brahman, but that can also be broken down to different sets of numbers, which represents number 9. So a list of numbers that calculate to that equals the number 9. So the algorithm for vortex-based mathematics, which is also the same algorithm for Yinnergy, is it's three sets of numbers. So it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, 1, and 6, 9, 3, 3, 9, 6. And you put these all together. So basically, if you take these numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and the reverse numbers of that, as I said, was 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, 1. Sorry, is that right? 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. Yeah, that's right. So 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, 1. You add those numbers up together, and in between of those numbers, you get the number 6, 9, 3, 3, 9, 6. And if you add that all together and you come up with an answer to that, you take that answer, which is going to be a double-digit number, crunch it down to a single-digit number, and the number will always be 9, saying that 9 is the foundation of those numbers, but also 9 is the foundation of everything that happens in creation. So you can break down anything that's happening that we know in the universe, and if you can find its structure or its algorithm, it works out to be the same. It works out to be the same algorithm. So whether it's in plants, mitosis, binary codes, transformers, devices, electrical coils, the list goes on. They all break down to the same algorithm of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 are the set of numbers that are crunched down to single-digit numbers. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is really, it represents a doubling circuit. So of course you have the number 1 and double 1. So it's based on a doubling circuit. So double 1 is 2, double 2 is 4, double 4 is 8, double 8 is 16, double 16 is 32, and double 32 is 64. But if you take those numbers and you crunch them down to a single digit number, you always get the algorithm of 124875, 124875 into infinity. So by knowing that, there's a way that I found to use that form of mathematics in the algorithm that I created for Yinnergy. So by knowing this, what happens is, because some people think that when I'm saying this is some kind of magical thinking thing. No, this is not based on numerology or anything like that, though that can be included in that. This is actually just based on trying to find a set of frequencies that create sound that will create the perfect sound for your brain to resonate to. So by having a perfect sound, at least a perfect measured sound, and have your brain having your brain to resonate with that, will create your brain into the right conditions so that if something like a spiritual awakening or enlightenment was ever to hit you, your body and your brain, your nervous system would be conditioned and prepared to handle that experience, and to hold the experience, not just to handle it, but to hold the experience and be able to embody the experience by knowing how to condition the brain in certain ways to handle that. Now, there isn't just only one way to do that. There are millions of ways of cultivating the brain to stabilize within these algorithms. So I can take, as I said, there's millions of algorithms that you can do, but when you break it down to its essence, they always will come out to 124875 if you know the math behind it and how to design that. So within all the different levels of Yinnergy, the algorithm is always that 124875, 578421, 693396, or it can go the other way, 396693. Either way, it doesn't matter, as long as the algorithms of those numbers are the same, and you're conditioning your brain by listening to Yinnergy every day, and your brain and nervous system will reconstruct itself in a certain manner based on the sounds that it's being stimulated by, which is governed by those set of numbers that I just mentioned, or at least the algorithm of those numbers. So it gets complicated. I'm sure a lot of people didn't understand what I just said, but that is the basis of how this works. So anytime anyone's listening to Yinnergy, they are listening to the actual algorithms of 124875. That is the which, when you add those numbers up again, you get a double-digit number. That double-digit number is always the number that adds up to the number 9, whether that number is 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. It doesn't matter. You crunch those numbers down to a single digit number, and you always get the number 9, and that's what's important to create the essence of everything that's happening, at least within that algorithm, which is supposed to equate to everything that's happening in existence. And that's what you're conditioning your brain to. So this is why they call this math the symbol of enlightenment, or the fingerprint of God, and so on. So I make sure that every Yinnergy version or product that I create is based on that math. But again, there are millions of ways of using those mathematics. There are many different algorithms that when you break them down, will still come up to the 124875 or 578421, which creates the numbers of 693396 or 396693. Now the 396693 or the 693396 are always those numbers you don't touch. Those are just the numbers that I just mentioned, the 124875 and the 578421. Those numbers, when added together, creates those numbers. So those are your answers. So those numbers you never purposely make. You only focus on the 12475s, because the 3, 9s, and 6, you're not supposed to touch them. You're not even supposed to mention them. Those are just the numbers that I mentioned creates. Because the 396 are sacred numbers, and they represent something else. They represent a different system. But the 124875s and the 578421s represents the physical stuff that's happening in the physical, while the 3 and the 6s represents what people would call the fourth dimension, and 9 represents Omni fourth dimension. Omni fourth dimension is the dimension of quote unquote God, right? And the Omni fourth dimension, of course, is governing the fourth dimension, which people call fourth dimension, and fourth dimension is governing the third dimension, which is where you're in right now, which represents the 12475. So all of that stuff comes into play, and all that. And it's not, you can believe in that stuff or not, whether these numbers actually represent the physical dimension, and the 3 and the 6 represents the fourth dimension, and the 9 represents the omni-fourth dimension. But the point is, it actually works. So when you use these numbers properly in unison, they have a stronger effect and a more divine effect on the brain and nervous system that will condition the brain and the nervous system for spiritual awakenings and enlightenment. Some would already know when you have your first spiritual awakening, it doesn't stick for most people because the brain and the nervous system is not designed, or is not hasn't been properly conditioned to hold it. But as time goes on, as you have more of these experiences, and I'm not talking about regular experiences or peak experience, I'm actually talking about spiritual awakenings, which is separate from peak experiences and mystical experiences and stuff like that. But at the same time, even though a peak experience is not a spiritual awakening, all spiritual awakenings are peak experiences. So it depends on how you look at it. But as people will know, especially if you've taken a psychedelic, and if that experience happens, you can't hold it. So the goal is, how are you able to hold it, or how are you able to embody that within your being? And that takes years and years of meditation practice. So with Yinnergy, of course, you still have to put in the time. It's not a magic pill. So you still have to put in the time, where you put in an hour every day where you meditate with something like Yinnergy. And as time goes on, your brain, your nervous system reconstructs itself so that it can handle and hold and embody that awakening. Because I shouldn't even call it an experience, because if you have an awakening to that degree, there is nothing for you to experience, because you realize in that moment that you're experienced, that you are the experience itself. And there is no you to experience it, because you are experience, as opposed to you having an experience. At that point, the experience and you becomes the same thing. And that's a non-dual experience, even though I'm using the word experience, but it's no experience at all, because it's now non-dual. There's no you to actually experience it, because the subjective and the objective becomes one and the same. So that is the basics in regards to, well, I hope that was basic, but that's the basics in regards to the foundation of Yinnergy, which is based on brainwave entrainment, and that brainwave entrainment is based on binaural beats and binaural beats, and those binaural beats and binaural beats are created by using a mathematical system called Vortex Based Mathematics, which is based on the numbers 12485, 124875, and 578421, which creates the numbers in between, which are the sacred numbers, which is 693396, or it could be 396693. And that's it. So this is Bodhi in the Brain Part 4. Stay tuned for Part 5 next week. Take care, everyone.